Everyone wants to let their AI run their business on autopilot, and that's how you're going to wake up to a fire. I've handed software real control over my marketing. It can spend, it can send, it can publish, and I still sleep fine. And I'm going to tell you how I did that so you can replicate it and do what I do and have an automated business that works for you instead of you working for the AI. What has allowed me to do this is very important, and it's that everything dangerous waits behind a gate that I have to open myself. And so let me tell you how I built this here. So the first thing is the whole system's risk appetite is going to live in one plain text file, like a handful of numbers anyone on my team can open, read, and then this is going to be the first line of defense. And it's really small on purpose. It's easy to share, they can pull it, it doesn't take up a lot of context. And so the shape of something like this could be daily ad spend before it raises a flag, max number of automatic actions per day so one bad day can't snowball into 100, a traffic drop, a lead drop percent that can set off an alert, and thresholds for scale this up versus pause this. A master switch that just keeps every ad change recommend only, and that's just 5 or 6 lines, right? That you can put in to implement more of a safety layer. The actual values are going to be yours that you put in and your comfort levels. And that's what's beautiful about these types of systems is it can conform to how you actually work while still having the guardrails to keep it working safe and making sure that you can audit, hold your systems accountable. And that's really important when you're building out there. So how do you decide what an AI agent can do on its own? And this is the key. It's way simpler than most people think about it. And it's that every single action gets an owner, and that owner is going to decide who's allowed to pull the trigger. And then there can be 3 owners for a specific task. So the first one is, I call it Agent Auto. So that's a system that's just going to do the actions for you. It's reversible, it's low stakes stuff. It's where no one really needs to look at things. It's going to be pull this data into the dashboard, queue up maybe a supported blog topic, or just write my daily report for me. The second one is approve first. It's going to draft the thing and parks it for my eyes to see, which is very important. That you need to see what it is built before you approve it, right? And this is the approve first agent. So it drafts it, waits for approval, and nothing can happen till I approve it and hit that button. So no ad spend, no messages, no nothing. Once I hit go, then it's allowed to go. And the third is going to be human only, and that system flag means that the agent couldn't do it, and it means something for me to come in and help it remove the obstacle to do the task, or it will not do anything, and it should be reserved for humans. This will change depending on the system that you implement. A lot of times it could be form fills, solving a CAPTCHA, but this is where a human, what they call human in the loop. So should an AI agent auto send emails or post publicly? No. And this is one of the strictest rules I hold. So anything outward facing is always draft first. The machine is going to go all the way to the edge. It's going to take it right there, but then I have to approve it so I can make sure that it matches my tone of voice, I don't have any tweaks, that it's grounded in what is true in my business. That is very important because sometimes it likes to make stuff up. We all love those hallucinations, but not when they make you look like a fool. And this is another reason why it's really strict. If you have an automation that's going to fire a slightly wrong email at a real prospect, no amount of time can take that back. And the other thing is when you ask an agent and tell them, hey, you messed up that email, oftentimes they will just fire and forget a secondary email, say, oh, I fixed it for you. But you can't have that happen in the real world, right? You can't have agents fire at will, not be able to take it back, and then try and improve on it and resend it. Guardrails. You need guardrails for these areas. So the machine's still going to do the work. It's going to research, it's going to draft, it's going to format it, it's going to queue it. Everything up till that little button, and that's what I hit from there. Once I verify it, and it goes through my own personal QA. And I think that this is super important for anything that is going out the door. You, no matter what, always need a QA process to say, hey, I've looked at this. This is when I've looked at this. So when someone says, was this all AI or did you do it? You can strongly say, no, I did it. Here's when, here's how, here's why. And it'll help you figure out when the AI breaks a little bit better. So let's move on to the next question. What does safe by construction mean? Safe by construction means that most of the system has no power to act in the first place. The dangerous verbs live in that tiny beat, and that beat is the only one that has the only thing that the gate has to guard. I didn't bolt safety on after the fact. I shaped the work so most of it just can't hurt anything, because each loop is going to be run in 3 stages. The first is sense. It reads the world, changes nothing. It can't spend, it can't send, or it can't post because of the guardrails. The second is decide whether it should act or not. It works out what the signal means and writes down its conclusion. It still has no power to act. It's just a recommendation. So 2 of the 3 stages are powerless. They cannot do anything. They can run by themselves, they can run asynchronously, but they cannot make changes without explicit approval. And that is the third one that'll come in. And who can do that? And that's why I feel comfortable letting them run, because a lot of them are just data gathering, providing recommendations, saying, hey, maybe we do this. And it makes your system a lot stronger, so you don't have to worry, because believe me, these agents love to just fire text messages, fire calls, fire emails at 1 a.m. for no reason. So how do you change how much autonomy it has in the first place? So you can edit a number in a text file. That's it. You don't really need a code deploy or no secret settings buried down for where it lives. If you want the system to be more cautious, I just change a simple line. And that's what's going to keep the limits on it. So that way it can read it every single time, make sure it is running correctly. It knows what rules every time we have the session start and what are the gates where it cannot pass go. Why are the limits the actual product? This is where that reframe that takes a little bit to get. It's the approval step is where my judgment matters and enters the system. And that's where the real value is. I put a lot of my judgments into the building of the system to get it there, but sometimes it's just wrong, right? Sometimes it comes back with a bad recommendation, and unless you know what you're talking about, it's really hard to catch that. It'll look right, it'll seem right, it'll say, hey, maybe you should do this, and you don't understand if you make that change, your entire system downline will break. If you change that one site URL, all your backlinks to that site will break if you don't have a redirect going there. These are the tiny changes where the AI isn't technically wrong, but it forgot about the guardrails that it needed to make safe edits so your other pipelines, marketing, and loops don't break. So is a fully autonomous agent safe to leave running on their own? So as you've heard, mine isn't fully autonomous yet. And again, that's on purpose. Publishers are run free, but the decision is still mine of what you can post, what you can't post. Once I've approved the post, it can go into the queue, and then the actual publishers can go fire and run their scripts to go post it. So the few publishers that I have are going to be your daily business profile post, posting a daily pin, syndicating my blogs, researching and writing drafts to people for outreach, finding backlinks, or looking at my churn or customers or agents who call in and seeing where they're having issues. And so this is how I build my systems. The executor is going to fire on a schedule. If it finds nothing approved to act on, then it stops. Good. That's the guardrail. Boring is safe. Boring is healthy. And that's how you want to build your systems. And so how do you safely add a new automated loop? So every new loop is going to ship with 2 things, or it just doesn't ship: a gate for the dangerous part and a receipt. The trick is you gate at the verb, not the loop. So a loop can read, decide, and draft all at once. That is fine. It's act, publish, send, spend. That sits behind your owner and approval. In Eevee, you're like, oh, I want to run it 24 hours a day. That's fine. But for you to just have 1 minute to hit a button, make sure it looks right, will save you so much money, because you at least know what is going out the door is okay. Aggressive about everything safe is how I run my agents, and then we're conservative about the ones with the one verb that's got teeth. And then the loop has to leave a receipt. Like, it ran, it produced this much, here's the output, or it produced 0, and this is what happened. Every time I have it evaluate my ads, it has to leave a report of, we evaluated the ads, this is what we recommended change, this is what we did change, this is what we need approval to change, these are the videos you might need to make. And you write that every day. If it doesn't have that last piece, then it's an instant fail, because you can block those with your hooks, with your automations to say, do not pass go if you do not have the minimum information that you were supposed to get when you ran. And these are the guardrails that make your system work beautifully and safely. So if you can just take one single thing from this, it's don't ask whether or not the agent can act, ask what it's allowed to do without you. And you're gonna wanna put your limits in a file that you can read, that the agent can read, and you're gonna wanna ask it to build the guardrails around that file, around the limits, around the verbs of send, spend, act, right? That is where you want your oversight and your human in the loop to always kind of fit in there. So if you want the actual shape of everything, feel free to comment. I will drop it on my documentation, and I look forward to any other questions or comments you all might have about this process.